All right, so this is Mark. He just finished his 12-week nutrition with me. So he had a great experience, and I just want to share with you guys a little bit about what he went through with the nutrition component of my program. So this is Mark, and tell me how was the program for you?
It was a very interesting start. I was under the assumption that, okay, vegan, just don't touch any meat, don't touch any dairy, you're fine. And so, okay, let me just eat rice to lose the weight. And then it wasn't the best thing. And so I joined on this program. I have done fitness programs before just to get a baseline, but after COVID, everything just kind of went crazy and haywire. And for me, it's like really taking because I was so focused on just working out, working out, working out. I mean, if you have me on
Yeah.
social media, you know every day I'm doing something like working out. And I thought I could out train what I was eating, and
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't working. And so ultimately going into the program, it was just mostly okay, just eating right. I mean, the physical activities, I got that down, but it's just the eating right. But also, like, I think something that I never really tackled on the last programs that I've been with is kind of this mental health component where it's like I have body dysmorphia. I mean, I just like looked in the mirror. I'm like, oh my god, I look horrible. I look awful. So I mean, the best thing is that ending this program. Well, actually, three things was one, knowing how to eat properly, because growing up I didn't know how to eat. Well, the expectation was I eat till I'm full.
Right.
So just eat everything on site. The second one was just looking at myself and I'm like, oh wow, I don't look good. And then the third one is ultimately realistic expectations, because I had this expectation in the very beginning. Oh, I'm gonna look like, on the cover of like GQ magazine, ripped, shredded. But then as time progressed, it's like I think you said it. The time it took for me to like get off and derailed was a few like couple of years, to be honest. So it's gonna take a few like couple of years or maybe a few months just to get back on track.
Yeah. So it is like you do need that mental, mindset, habit forming part in order for you to stay the course. If not, then a lot of people end up feeling like, man, like you're gonna hit plateaus, and the plateau can be fixed if you're in the right mindset to accept the fix, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I do remember gave you what you needed to eat how much rice to eat. You were like, whoa, I was way overeating. You thought like a cup of rice was like a bowl of rice.
I actually, so okay, 1 cup. Literally, I took 1 cup. And I poured it down. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a cup. But then, actually, now that you mention it, now that I have a weighing scale, now that I have an actual thing, I decided to look how many cups this is. This is 3 cups. So, and I said it was 3 cups per meal. So I was eating 9 cups of like straight up rice a day. And like, if you look at the carbohydrates, I think like 1 cup is like
That's like
70 grams. So
yeah. I mean,
it's
depending
a
on the
stupid amount.
brand, yeah, you're having like, 200 and something grams of rice a day, which is great if you're like on bulking season, you know what I mean? Like you're trying to do a powerlifting comp. Um, and then what are some of the strengths that you feel like you had in the program?
Definitely physical activity. Not gonna lie, because I'm just how I am. Physical
Hmm.
activity has been like great. I think one thing. I mean, we had a call about this. I think like the biggest thing that a lot of people just make mistakes fitness wise is like, I'm gonna do CrossFit even though I freaking hate it. I'm gonna do this even though I freaking hate it. And there's like hundreds of things you can do, and there's at least something you gotta like. I mean, I do parkour. I mean, I have people that are just like, I just do parkour, I just do swimming, I just do weightlifting, and all my friends that just specialize in that, they're fine. But they're
Yeah.
physically active because they love being physically active. With parkour, it's like I love, I don't recommend this without the training. I like jumping off of buildings or swimming. I like just, going into the pool or going to the ocean. And for CrossFit, it's like I love, like lifting weights. It's like you do what you gotta love. And for me, I love doing all of the above.
Yeah.
So I'm doing all of the above.
Yeah.
And there's just that, but also another component of how bad I really, really wanted it, where it's like,
Mm-hmm.
growing up childhood wise, like I wasn't physically active. I'm like, what the like, out of frustration, I'm not the strongest kid. What's going on? But now, as I'm an adult and understanding fitness is, it's just more than just like lifting weights or just doing stuff. It's you have to understand everything. And now that I
Mm-hmm.
understand everything, I get a better deal. And just to close it off, I'm Filipino. Culturally, our food is amazing, but it will send you to the hospital if you eat it on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
One of my officers in OCS, he gave me an assignment. Look up the amount of serving. It's called fish hospites. Like how much sodium is in 1 teaspoon, and understand it's not like, well, here's my water. It's not teaspoon how we eat it. It's like,
Yeah.
douse it till it tastes good. 1 teaspoon is 3 times the amount of. It's like 3 times the daily recommendation.
Yeah.
So it's not in 1 teaspoon. I wouldn't be surprised if I was eating 1 cup at a time. So I'm like, oh, God damn.
That's crazy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
just the overall, like the knowledge and understanding about just the components of food, like sodium, sugars, carbohydrates, fiber. And I think that a lot of us don't know how to eat properly, whether you're vegan or you're not. Like you're unaware of what's happening as far as the food component goes. And then once you're like, oh, this has a ton of sodium in it, then you break down like, wow, like I was having this much sodium when I wasn't supposed to be, or not really understanding, or now understanding like how much food to eat in order for us to get to our goals. And how did you feel about, when I know you had to go away a couple of times for military stuff, and so were you able to succeed in that way in the sense of like portions? Because obviously you're not going to bring your scale with you.
Yeah.
So how did that go for you?
For me, there were two really it sounds crazy, big revelations that I had. I had to eat vegetables. I had to drink water. It didn't make sense because I just kept eating and eating. But then I need to portion it correctly. So I get a plate, and then okay, let me get this, let me get that. I mean, before even coming to the program, the lunch ladies would always they have a scoop. It's actually fitted perfectly and proportionally correct. So I'm like, oh, okay, so just give me one of this, one of that. Sometimes the trays will actually be in their own little squares, so it fits. Over where I'm at for every 1 week in a month, it's not like that, but I'm at a point where I can visually see, okay, that's too much, this is too little. And I can also feel it, okay, this is way too much, or this is just way too little. I mean, for me, one of the biggest things that just drinking a lot of water and also making sure I have vegetables as well really, really helps out. And those are the indicators that I know I'm going well. I remember, I think it was our third or fourth call. Where's the vegetables? I'm like, oh, they're mandatory. I have to eat it, and I have to eat this. And one thing said oh, are you are you going to the bathroom? Okay, and it's like, wait, what?
Right.
So I started eating vegetables, and I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel like I'm giving birth anymore. Like, oh, I'm not supposed to feel like this anymore.
Right.
Because I'd stay in the bathroom for a long duration of time. I thought it was normal because it's like, okay, this is normal. No, it's like, in and out quick, where it's like, oh, okay, this is what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and that is the smooth move of moving through having a healthy bathroom life is all to do with having good amount of fiber that it's coming from vegetables, not necessarily just from grains. And then how would you say your overall feeling about how you feel now versus before?
Oh my God. Yeah, okay, I'm glad you asked this. So there's two instances where I know things have gone well. So Halloween, I dressed up as, if you might know anime, this guy. So pretty much his character, this super ripped guy, but all he does is has a boar head and just wouldn't be a loincloth, like a bare skirt sort of thing. I remember wearing that on Halloween, and everyone's coming up to me like a little Tokyo. Oh my God, can I take a photo with you? I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is great, great. I'll take it. And it's I feel so much better. And also, I go to swim meets now and I look at myself and holy shit, I can see see abs, there's not a lot of there's nothing wrong with, being the way you look. And that's honestly one of the biggest takeaways is I want to look like this, but realistically speaking, everyone's going to look in their own, unique sort of way. And the way I look at my body now, it's oh, I feel good. I feel fine. Am I on the cover of a magazine worthy? Not yet, but it's the consistency. And honestly, I've been so consistent with it. I'm just give me a few more months. And I'm like, hey, Parker, photo shoot time. Let's go.
Yeah. Well, that's great that, your confidence level has gone up. And I think that you hit it on the nail of being like, it's okay to look anyway. It's
Hmm.
not a bad way to look anyway, as far as like how you feel. I don't want anyone to think like, oh, this is just a weight loss program and you have to lose weight. It's more of just like understanding food. And even if you wanted to gain weight, because there are people who metabolisms are super, super fast where they have a problem putting on weight. So it's like whatever your goal is what we want to accomplish together.
Right.
And whatever you want, like you have this goal to be chiseled and like on the cover of a magazine, so that's what your goal should be. And I don't think that that means that everybody needs to want to have that goal, you know what I mean? Like
Mm.
that's okay that you don't want to be ripped, but you want to feel healthy and you want to feel good in your skin, and that's all we really even care about. So that's great that you said that too. And then like my last question for you would be like, if you knew someone was on the fence about wanting to start this program, what would you say to them?
So I've been involved in the swim team for a good couple of years, and it's only until recently I started doing, attending my first swim meet, attending practices more regularly. I got to know some of the team members. There's one woman there, and I never would have suspected it. Our oldest member, she's 100, like 100 years old, and she's walking normally. Like if you looked at her, like oh, you probably know in 60, 70. No, she's straight up 100, but she's walking normally, like talking, like she's swimming fine, and it's like wow, like this is crazy. No, and I look back at most people like fitness wise, my running club, CrossFit, swimming, everybody generally, not everyone, but generally speaking, is in their 60s, 70s, or even 80s, and like they're older, but they're not confined to a wheelchair. Like they're just moving around healthily and actively. So it's like for me, that's kind of a motivation of when I become older, I don't want to be like stuck confined in the wheelchair. And it's like it's what you do right now, because honestly you might not see it, you're not going to see it tomorrow, you're not going to see it next month, but years later on down the road, if I'm choosing to remain this consistent, if things go the way they go, I'll be at 80, 90, or 100, and I'll just be like walking and talking normally. No,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lift 500 pounds, but at
Right.
least I'll have like medically, like I'll be fine, just
Yeah.
walking around. So I'd say just honestly do it. Like you have nothing to lose. And I think also another thing, just to close it all off, is like I think people are so afraid of getting yelled at or failing out of the program. But I mean, the point of messing up is to kind of learn from it. Like diet wise, I wasn't 100%. Like I have been consistent, but I wasn't always on it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. Like you're supposed to make the mistake to learn from it.
Right.
So if you're afraid to get corrected, like try to overcome it, because honestly, you will get corrected multiple times. I've been corrected multiple times, but hey, I'm only better because of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a learning curve. Like I didn't start doing eating this way. And I'm not even talking about veganism, but just eating in a way for my fitness. Like I wasn't 100% following the directions correctly because I might have made some errors, but everybody makes errors in any sort of part of their life in order for them to see like, oh, okay, this is how I'm supposed to do it, and then I'm gonna succeed. So yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, and just to correct everyone who's watching this, like I don't yell at anyone.
Oh yeah,
So
no, no,
when
no, she don't do that.
I don't yell. I definitely want to be like, "Hey, so what are you doing? I see that this is happening or not happening." So I'm there to babysit you or watch you and like be the big brother in, correcting you in the sense of like, "Hey, this is where we can improve."
Mhm.
So don't be like, "Oh, she yells at you," because
No, she
Mr.
doesn't.
Mark said
Sorry, no, no, she doesn't.
Well, thank you so much for hopping on here and letting, everybody know your amazing transformation and what you're going to continue doing for yourself. Like you're just even more active than you were before. He also, we didn't even get to talk about that. He also had a like stress fracture in his foot while he was in the program, but he still was able to do other sorts of fitness that wasn't going to aggravate it. And he was still, on point as far as his nutrition goes to still get the same result that he had. So it doesn't always have to be, the right time in everyone's life. And that's a thing that people, oh, well, it's not the right time because I'm injured or this or that. You will always have something that comes up in your life that's going to stop you from completing your goals. And if you let that complete your goal or stop your goals, and you're never going to accomplish that. And that, you know, Mark is a testament to that too, because he had a stress fracture and he still was doing the thing, and he still got what he needed. So thank you so much, Mark, for hopping on here, and I will see you guys in the next video.
All right.